Hey guys, and welcome to another video. Today I want to break down what not to do when you start hybrid training. Now, first things first is we want to understand what is hybrid training. Hybrid training is where you combine both strength training with endurance training and work towards both goals at the same time. Now, it was commonly thought that due to the interference effect, you wasn't able to do both. It was believed that adding in endurance training would affect your strength gains, it would affect your muscle building, and it would affect your overall performance. However, there have been plenty of examples now of people able to do both at the same time, working towards extraordinary goals. Now, if you're training to be elite at one thing, hybrid training isn't going to be for you. Whereas if you're like most of us, where we want to test our bodies and see what we're capable of, following a hybrid style approach to our training really opens up the door to new challenges. Personally, I like to blend strength training with triathlon. Now, there are quite a few common mistakes when people start hybrid training. I listed these 4 that I felt were quite key, mainly because I recently had a day's worth of training where it would be a classic hybrid style training day, but I went a little bit off plan. I started out my day with an interval session on the bike, as programmed, as planned. Then after my morning clients, I made my first mistake. I went into my strength training day. Then during this session, there was an opportunity to help out the gym with a CrossFit qualifier. This is mistake number 2. So then in the PM, after coaching the lunchtime class, I competed in the CrossFit qualifier where I pushed myself maximally on the ski erg and with a weightlifting complex. So let's kick off with the 4 key takeaways when starting hybrid training. Number 1, know what's the priority and what needs to be held on maintenance. Now, when hybrid training, you need to have a goal in mind because you need to know what you should be prioritizing. For example, I have a powerlifting competition in December, and I have a 70.3 and an ultra marathon in May and June next year. So my priority is the powerlifting competition. Now, this doesn't mean I can't be working towards my endurance events next year, but what it means is it'll be a more aerobic base building and the volume will probably be a little bit lower to make sure I have the ability to recover, since my main goal is the powerlifting competition. However, if you don't have a particular goal that you want to work towards, you can balance your training based around your weekly availability. Let's use this example of if you had 5 days a week to train and you wanted to combine some strength training with some running. So let's go with Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So you might want to split your training based on some lower body on Monday, upper body on Wednesday, full body on Friday. And then if you want to add in 2 runs a week, you could add in 2 sessions, so we could have some run intervals after the lower body day on the Tuesday, and Saturday could be your long, low and slow run day. We would then have 2 rest days a week on Thursday and Sunday. Now, point number 2 is don't give more than 100%. Now, we often hear give 110% to your workouts.
You will give 110%.
That's impossible. No one can give more than 100%. By definition, that is the most anyone can give.
But when it comes to hybrid training, this could be the start of your downfall. Now, I have 3 big goals that I'm working towards. I've got a powerlifting competition in December, I've got a half Ironman in May, and then I've got an ultra marathon 55k through the mountains in June. Now, I would love to be doing all the necessary training for all 3 of those goals, but that would be 300% of stress coming into my body. Now, what I have to do is use point number 1, and I need to prioritize what's my main goal. So my main goal at the moment is the powerlifting competition. So that means 70% of my training is going to be focused towards the powerlifting, and then 30% is going to be focused towards some base building training. Then after I've competed in my powerlifting competition, my goals will shift and I can maybe spend about 70% of my efforts going into my endurance training and 30% of maintenance strength training. So whatever you do, do not do 100% of a triathlon plan and 100% of a powerlifting competition prep plan. This is 200% and our body will break down.
Your back is broken.
Hybrid training is all about knowing when to turn dials up and turn others down to make sure you're balancing your 100% according to your goals. Now, point number 3 is don't stray too far off your program. Now, I'm all for enjoying yourself with training and trying new things, but if you've got some hybrid goals, already putting a lot of stress into the pot, You don't want to be adding in external stressors which don't support your goals. Otherwise, your performance will most likely drop in some key sessions. Now, as I mentioned at the start of the video, I made a mistake. I strayed off my program and I competed in a CrossFit qualifier, which left my body struggling to recover for 5 days afterwards. Now, it was a lot of fun doing the qualifier and it was really good to push myself. But what that meant is some of the key sessions that followed that week really struggled, because not only was there a higher demand for recovery due to the extra stresses that I put on my body, but also the higher risk of injury due to doing things that my body wasn't necessarily conditioned to do, as you can see by this snatch. Now, I know how to snatch to a decent standard, but this is not a decent standard, and I risk completely trashing my shoulders. Now, this would be a massive issue because I low bar squat, which puts some stress on the shoulders already, and then bench press already put some stress on the shoulders. I had discomfort in my shoulders for about 5 days post this qualifier. Now, do I regret it? No, I'm far enough out from my competition that I was able to maybe sacrifice a little bit there. And then I had a lot of fun in the process doing it. And for me, that is a big part of training, is having fun. But would I recommend it closer to comp day? Definitely not. Now, lastly, point number 4 is under fueling. When you're used to mainly strength training and you add in a bunch of endurance training, your energy expenditure becomes a lot higher. And we're gonna need energy to not only recover in between sessions, but also energy to make sure we can keep performing in these sessions. So one of the most important things that I always try to focus on is eating back about 75 to 80% of my calories based on whatever my Garmin has told me I've burnt in that session. So if I've burnt 1,000 calories going on a run, I'm going to eat back about 750 to 800 calories, because I know that these trackers aren't exactly hugely accurate. However, it's enough of a ballpark to make sure I'm still eating back enough calories that's going to help me recover from it and give me energy to go into that next session. Now, if you're going to add in another stressor and try and lose some weight while you're doing this, I would definitely recommend being in a relatively small deficit of about 5 to 10% and focus on performance rather than necessarily your scale weight. Now, whether you're training for fat loss or just performance, we really want to prioritize peri-workout nutrition. So that means your nutrition you're taking in pre, during, and post your workout window. Now, I like to take on about 30 to 50 grams of carbs pre-workout, mainly to make sure I've got enough energy that I can easily utilize when I need it. Now, if my sessions are going over an hour, so mainly my endurance-based sessions, this would be where I then start to utilize energy gels, and I usually aim for around 60 to 90 grams per hour. Now, I've tested this on myself to see how many carbs I can kind of take in and perform well, and I've found around the 80 grams of carbs works really well. Now, this is around 80% of my current body weight because I currently weigh around 100 kilos. Now, also during these sessions, I want to be making sure I'm replenishing electrolytes. So I will have my electrolyte drink because I'm quite a heavy sweater. So I'll be losing quite a lot of electrolytes in these sessions, and electrolytes are key at helping your muscles contract and to keep the body hydrated. Now into the post-workout window. Personally, I really enjoy having a Yezu. Carb to protein ratio is around 3 to 1, which is ideal in a post-workout window. And then I'll probably have a protein shake with some frozen banana in there and some skim milk. And I'll follow that up with a nice protein and carbohydrate-rich meal. Even if you're training in a calorie deficit, this window should be really prioritized to make sure your training doesn't suffer. And then you can spread your calories around the day to keep you feeling relatively satiated throughout the day, so you can stay on track with your calories and stay on track with your performance. So if you're thinking of starting to train like a hybrid athlete and you're more of a strength athlete at the moment, maybe look to add in some light, easy runs, maybe about 5-10 minutes after your lower body days. That's 1 to 2 times a week. So take away maybe an accessory from your lower body day training, and then add in that light, easy run, and then see how your body recovers. So don't do 2 days back to back. Give it some time, see how your body responded, and then know about what you can do in the next session. Then over a couple of weeks, you can look to increase the intensity. And just like you would in strength training, don't go crazy with the progressive overload. Look to add no more than 10% to your overall running volume every week. Now, there are lots more points which you could probably cover, but it will make the video even longer. So I'll probably save those points for a later video down the line. However, if you have any issues that you've come across in your hybrid training journey, do drop them in the comment section down below and let me know. And I'll be sure to message back and give you some help where I can. And I would also love to hear what style of hybrid training you're doing. Are you blending strength training with running? Are you doing strength and triathlon? Maybe strength and ultra marathons? It'd be great to see in the comment section down below what you guys are up to. So if you got this far in the video, thank you very much for watching. And if you found this video useful, it would be awesome if you gave it a thumbs up and a little subscribe. And if there's any videos you would love me to do or any questions that you might have, drop it in the comment section down below and I'll be sure to see what I can do. If you haven't checked out my last video, you can see that here. And if you want to subscribe, you can press there. Thanks a lot, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.